a lone human and a zombie. Why does this inexplicably feel intriguing?
Ning-yi, relying on the identity of the zombie protagonist,
moves freely in the post-apocalyptic world. Whenever a zombie approaches, they are scared off by Yufengyue's piercing gaze. Ning-yi knew he made the right gamble. As long as Yufengyue can keep the zombies at bay, his safety increases significantly. Truly worthy of being the main character. It's incredibly effective. Traveled smoothly all the way to the pharmacy. Ning-yi quickly searched for anti-inflammatory medicine, but noticed Yufengyue fidgeting non-stop. Thinking to himself, as expected of the protagonist, hadn't given up the idea of killing him, was just about to pick up the kitchen knife nearby. Stopped when Yufengyue casually mentioned feeling hungry. Ning-yi felt a wave of relief, put down the knife and took out a biscuit, placing it in his hand, knowing that following rules is worth rewarding. In the midst of speaking, tore open the packaging, only to be stopped by Yufengyue's swift grasp. Upon realizing he disliked the dirt on his hands, Ning-yi couldn't help but feel his lips twitch, internally annoyed at how picky he was, but had no choice but to obediently use his powers to clean up. Is it clean enough for you now? Saying this, he offered Yufengyue a piece of biscuit. So, what's next? Let's go find something to eat. Found something to eat. You can eat as much as you like. Just remember one thing, don't bite me. The two of them gathered supplies and returned home. Yufengyue fixated his gaze solely on Ning-Ning, then handled the wounds on his body. Alright, it's your turn now. Take off your clothes. Ning-Yi had just reached out his hand, only for it to be slapped away by Yufengyue with a sharp sound. She immediately lowered her head, avoiding eye contact with him. Ning-Yi let out a cold laugh. A small thief's sausage was exposed, taken from the supermarket without paying. Ning-Yi pulled out the sausage. Yufengyue, quick and alert, grabbed the other end. Suddenly, my door was banged on loudly. Someone outside asked if anyone was inside. Ning-Yi signaled to Yufengyue to stay silent. He walked over to the door to check. Hello, I mean no harm. I'm a survivor too. After saying this, they hurried away in fear of the zombie. It's not surprising that there are other survivors in this neighborhood, but showing up at this time, it's hard to tell if they're friend or foe, but it doesn't matter. After all, there's Yufengyue, the zombie king, here. While speaking, their eyes met Yufengyue, who had been sneaking around. It was inexplicably a bit awkward. The next day, Ning-Yi went out with Yufengyue to gather crystal cores and supplies. Seeing that it was about time, the two of them were preparing to head back the same way. But all of a sudden, Yufengyue unexpectedly tackled him to the ground, and fiercely bit down on his jaw. Fortunately, Ning-Yi reacted quickly, dodging aside and kicking Yufengyue off him with one swift move. Then he mercilessly locked her throat. Oh, so you've been behaving for a few days, waiting for me like this, huh? Don't do anything that would upset me. Otherwise, tightening the grip mid-sentence. A threat filled with undeniable implication. Returning to the far side of the house, reaching cautiously toward the wound, a sharp pain ran through his fingertips, brushed against it. An ambush at home can be tolerated, but outside, it's a different story. Life and death are determined in an instant. Today's situation must never happen again. With another turn, she brought over a basin of water. She began vigorously scrubbing away the dirt on Fengyue's face. She focused intently while scrubbing Fengyue's face. Just as Fengyue was staring with concentration, Ning-Yi suddenly knocked her to the ground. In a vengeful move, she sank her teeth into his chin. The sensation of the tongue's lick made Yufengyue freeze completely. Ah, does it feel good? Does being bitten feel thrilling? Yufengyue pressed his lips tightly together without saying a word. However, Ning-Yi sensed his displeasure. He couldn't help but laugh in exasperation. He was clearly upset. You were the one who bit me first. After saying this, he pointed to the injuries on his body. You've bitten me so many times. Is it too much for me to bite you just once? So no more biting me from now on. Got it? If you understand, nod your head for me. But he was ignored by Yufengyue once again. Ning-Yi, unable to tolerate it any longer, grabbed Yufengyue by the neck, and asked him again if he understood, only to see Yufengyue's eyes filled with confusion. Just then, there was a loud knocking at the door. My daughter has a fever. Please, can you spare some medicine for me? Interrupted, Ning-Yi let out a sigh, and carried Yufengyue to the bed, to avoid being noticed by others, then handed the pill to the man. Thanks, buddy. Earlier, I noticed you seemed to have another partner. Ning-Yi responded with a sound of acknowledgement, and asked if he had anything else to say. After the other person left, Ning-Yi found it rather odd. but he didn't seem too anxious about it, still had the mind to care about others. Ever since the last time Yufengyu ambushed and bit him, Ningyi has been reluctant to take him outside. Today, you're staying indoors. Make sure you stay home and behave. He said this while pushing the person back into the house. It was because Yufengyu's behavior yesterday was utterly out of control. Besides, he had grown used to zombie attacks. It's better not to take unnecessary risks, Ningyi thought to himself. With a loud bang, he shut the door. Time passed swiftly. A few hours went by. Yufengyu still couldn't figure out what this was, but Ningyi seemed to care about it a lot. Suddenly, there was a commotion at the door. Yet Yufengyu could tell it wasn't Ningyi. It turned out the man who came for medicine yesterday wanted to take advantage of Ningyi's absence. He brought his accomplices to rob supplies. They were just one step away, when the door suddenly opened from the inside. Hours later, Ningyi returned home as usual and opened the door. He saw the two people tied up, and was momentarily stunned. The man was crying uncontrollably with tears and snot streaming down his face. "Brother, this is all just a misunderstanding," but was immediately silenced by a cold glance from Yufengyu. Instantly frightened into silence. No, it's not a misunderstanding. Ningyi was about to listen to Yufengyu's explanation, was suddenly reminded. The clothes were dirty. Ningyi reluctantly took off his jacket and handed it directly to Yufengyu. "Now it's clean." Then he pulled over a chair and sat down. "Sorry about that. My friend tends to be a bit shy around strangers, but since he said it isn't, then it really isn't." Noticed that neither of them had any bite marks on their bodies. The rope connection was something he frequently used. Found it amusing in his heart. So the protagonist is only targeting him, huh? A strange man suddenly yelled loudly. "Do you really trust him that much?" Ningyi smiled and pulled Yufengyu close. "Of course, I trust him completely." Unexpectedly, the man with glasses misunderstood. He thought the two of them had that kind of relationship. "Before the apocalypse, I ran an online store. As long as you let the two of us go, I'm willing to give you all the training tools." Ningyi looked puzzled and said, "We are a couple. How does it even look like that?" So basically, he's just someone who sells himself. That's even more of a reason why you shouldn't trust him. Ningyi burst into laughter, then turned to ask Fengyu if she knew what selling oneself meant. Just lying on the bed to accompany someone in exchange for something else. Yufengyu had an innocent expression, claiming he didn't do it. He added that he hadn't been on the bed. What he actually meant was that he had always been sleeping on the living room sofa. After teasing Yufengyu, Ningyi couldn't be bothered to argue with the two of them. He pointed out that the man with glasses didn't have a daughter at all. Borrowing medicine was just an excuse to test their strength. "Do you think that having special abilities means you can get whatever you want? But you are nothing more than useless people who can't even take a step forward." In the evening, Ningyi tended to Yufengyu's wounds. However, an accidental touch made Yufengyu instinctively pull his hand back. Seeing this, Ningyi firmly grabbed his hand in dissatisfaction and asked him what he was thinking about. He even held onto Yufengyu's hand, attempting to persuade him. "From now on, stay honest and follow me. I won't treat you unfairly. Do you see that? There are plenty of people out there with such malicious intentions. It's rare to come across someone as soft-hearted and kind as I am." While speaking, he pointed at the two who dared not voice their anger. He went on to add that, unlike him, they would deceive you. Yufengyu remained silent without saying a word. Ningyi quietly made a victory gesture in his mind, thinking about how this kind of brainwashing works. The protagonist would absolutely forget about wanting to kill him. However, the priority now is to head to the next base. With that thought, he took the car keys from the two of them. Twirling the keys in his hand, he asked for Yufengyu's opinion. Hearing Yufengyu's affirmative response, Ningyi inexplicably felt that Yufengyu was very obedient. The next day, the two went to the storage depot to gather supplies. Unexpectedly, Ningyi managed to find among the numerous boxes a set of playful cat hair accessories. Before he could even show it off, Yufengyu swiftly kicked it away. Ningyi gave a once-over glance. Feigning ignorance, he asked if she didn't like it. Meanwhile, he quietly imagined a male servant in his mind, the image of the cat. The next moment, Yufengyu tackled him to the ground. Ningyi Xiao glanced at him, appearing fine. "I didn't ask you to wear it." After saying that, he glanced at the collar set aside. Before he could react, Yufengyu manually turned his head back. In a hurry, he was about to drag him away. but just before setting off, he still noticed Euphoniou picking up something from a certain explicit novel, and selected a magazine from it, and so, the two of them embarked on the journey to the safe base. During this time, Ningyi had to step away briefly for something. After confirming that the person was far enough away, Euphoniou eagerly took something out without hesitation, thinking about how to make him wish for death but not achieve it. A book that renders seeking death impossible. With an air of grave seriousness, he started flipping through it. The very next moment, Ningyi, who had walked away, suddenly turned back. At this moment, Euphoniou stared intently at the secret technique with a serious expression. He had even thought of a way to deal with Ningyi, but unexpectedly, Ningyi suddenly turned back. Frightened, Euphoniou hastily threw the book away. Ningyi, with a confused look, asked what he had thrown. Then he noticed Euphoniou's awkward expression. Ningyi picked up the book casually. After glancing at it, he nearly burst into laughter. He wondered curiously what Euphoniou was thinking about all day long. Euphoniou, who was mocked, wore a dark expression. Ningyi completely ignored his threat of wanting to kill him. "Let me teach you something fun to pass the time. Stop spending all your time thinking about it, and don't go trying to get rid of the only person who can talk to you." While speaking, he suddenly shoved Euphoniou to the ground, then leaned closer to him with his body. His fingers brushed along the edge of his pocket. The tense atmosphere made Euphoniou hold his breath instantly. But then Ningyi suddenly asked him, "How about playing a thrilling and intense game of poker? Speaking of which, isn't this also a way to strengthen relationships? Win a round, and I'll give you a crystal core. On the other hand, if you lose, you owe me one." After a few rounds, Ningyi won effortlessly. Instead, it sparked Euphoniou's overwhelming competitive spirit. Refusing to admit defeat, he insisted on playing again with Ningyi. Finding it amusing, Ningyi reminded him, "You should return my crystal core first." Euphoniou looked completely dumbfounded as he realized it, facing Ningyi's cheeky grin, turning around reluctantly to open the car door. Thus, Euphoniou hunts zombies to exchange for crystal cores, while Ningyi simply sits in the car watching the protagonist work for him. Moreover, he feels that the protagonist has become much more obedient than before. Time flies by. 2 hours have passed. Euphoniou returns triumphantly with a box full of rewards, what takes him half a day to complete. Euphoniou can finish in less than 2 hours. No wonder they are the protagonist. It's truly effective. In the next moment, Euphoniou, with a swift move, under his stunned gaze, threw down the golden box, demanded water from him with an air of confidence. The two executed a seamless set of moves, with a sincere expression, making the male lead believe him, but it ended up looking like a confession scene. The two played a card game until the red moon rose. Euphoniou still couldn't break the streak of repeated defeats. In the blink of an eye, daylight had arrived. Euphoniou was forced to fight zombies all night long, yet, with no sign of fatigue, she reached out to Ningyi for water. Ningyi withdrew his paused hand, and helplessly wiped the dirt off Euphoniou's face. "Euphoniou, my friend, even though you're drowning in debt, you worked tirelessly through the night to earn a golden box to repay it. It's truly an inspiring story, but we really have to move forward now." Hearing this, Euphoniou's face immediately turned sour. Yet upon hearing about playing at night, the happiness was evident. And so, the two began spending their days searching for supplies, and their nights playing cards. Euphoniou noticed they were getting more accustomed to each other, and naturally suggested that their relationship could take a step further. "So, would you be willing to trust me?" Euphoniou's deep eyes reflected confusion. "Why, of course, it's because I want to be with you, even though you dislike me." "I don't dislike you. Naturally, you can keep wanting to kill me. Wait for the day when I am no longer useful to you. Until then, feel free to make full use of me. You can trust me." At that moment, Ningyi indeed left an impression in Euphoniou's eyes. However, the warm atmosphere was soon interrupted by a loud knock on the door. A woman in a pink tracksuit asked if there was anything inside. Then she requested them to open the door. Ming stared intently at the doorway, thinking that if the one knocking on the door was someone purely evil like the man with glasses, it would be better. He just feared it might be a good person. Imagining the loss of characteristics leaning toward the romantic side, he let out a sigh. It's impossible to kill everyone they encounter. After all, the protagonist still has to get along with humans once the darkness is lifted. He picked up the glasses nearby and put them on him, noticing that he looked like he was about to take them off. Ningyi quickly grabbed his hand first. "You look great wearing sunglasses, truly great. Whatever you do, don't take them off. Euphoniue, for some reason, didn't refuse Ningyi. He turned around and opened the door. The woman instinctively leaned forward a little, noticing Ningyi's habitual step back. The woman was the first to express her intention. He expressed that he had been observing them for quite some time. He wanted to join them in heading to the safe base. Unexpectedly, Ningyi agreed before he could even finish speaking. This left Lin slightly stunned. In fact, Ningyi had already known. The woman was the second in command under Euphoniue in the original story. He was planning to do a small favor that cost him nothing. Perhaps it might even help lower the protagonist's chances of turning dark. Thus, the three of them formed a small team, helping each other along the way, started heading towards the road leading to the safe base. The three of them traveled continuously for several days. Near evening, they rested in a hidden spot. Shu Lin glanced at Euphoniue, who was wearing sunglasses, expressing doubt if he could actually see clearly. Ningyi casually explained that his night vision was quite good. This, however, piqued Shu Lin's curiosity. So, were you two always together before the apocalypse? The smile on Ningyi's face froze slightly, thinking how nice it would have been to meet just 2 days earlier before the apocalypse. The task won't be that difficult. It's a pity we met after the apocalypse. We were even attending the same university. He was actually my senior. After saying that, he glanced at Euphoniue, who was staring at him warily. He naturally reached out to wipe his mouth clean. This unexplainable gesture made Euphoniue's ears flush red, yet he had no idea where this emotion came from. After eating and drinking to his fill, Su Lin stretched lazily. Guess I won't be joining you for cards tonight. I don't have much gold or books left. Ningyi simply smiled and said goodnight. But it ended up annoying Euphoniue, who slammed a bowl in frustration. Your attention immediately shifted to his hand. While drying with a towel, you sighed and said not to be so reckless. This is already the second bowl you've broken. I recall he burned his hand last time while grilling fish. Shu Ling thoughtfully brought over some ointment. Euphoniue, watching from the side. Suddenly, he stormed off in dissatisfaction, throwing the bowl aside. That's why we don't have many bowls. Can you stop smashing them, please? And this ambiguous scene unfolded, happened to be witnessed by Shu Lin as he stepped out of the car. He suddenly realized. He understood why the guy with sunglasses had always disliked him. It turned out to be because he had been too close to someone else. The sunglasses guy was possessively jealous. Shu Lin merely imagined this entire scenario. It felt as if the entire person became immersed in scholarly pursuits. But the truth is different. They had grown used to spending time alone together. It felt uncomfortable sharing that with others. Why did he play cards? Why was he calling him? Ningyi revealed Fengyu's scar. You're quite strange. Playing cards is such an ordinary thing. Anyone can do it. The next moment, Euphoniue tightly grabbed his hand and retorted that it was not allowed. Ningyi noticed he couldn't provide an explanation. He curved his lips into a teasing smirk. What if I insist? I called Shu Lin to play cards. Are you upset? I can still play cards with him. Before the words could leave your mouth, Ningyi suddenly felt a sharp pain at the corner of his mouth. Euphoniue threateningly licked the blood. You're being disobedient. I will bite you. Ningyi seemed to sense the change in Euphoniue toward him, but he looked a little pitiful yet adorable like this. The next morning, Shu Lin noticed that Ningyi in the passenger seat was still asleep, so he planned to get out of the car and let Euphoniue take a break. But before he could approach, Euphoniue suddenly turned his head sharply. With a wary expression, she glanced at him and met those unusual pupils. Shu Lin was so startled that she took a step back. Meanwhile, Ningyi woke up in the car and happened to witness this scene. He hurriedly got out of the car in a fluster. After glancing at Shu Lin, who was trembling in fear, he placed his hand on Fengyu's shoulder himself. Then he explained to Shu Lin, there were some things that you didn't ask before, and I didn't think it was necessary to bring them up. But if you want to ask now, feel free to do so. I don't want the journey ahead to create a rift between us. After saying this, he looked at Euphoniue with a teasing expression. Can't you put on the sunglasses yourself? But Euphoniue simply didn't need him to personally help put them on. Another tried to reassure Lin not to be scared. Euphoniue just had a slight issue with his eyes. But there's no need to worry about what he might do. Lin's earlier fear completely vanished. I'm not afraid at all. The next moment, I caught a glimpse of Euphoniue's gaze. Suddenly, a cold sweat broke out again. I wanted to take back what I just said. The forest bowed at a 180-degree angle. It was clear what his goal was. It was simply to survive first. You all don't need to say anything to me. Then I remembered the issue with Euphoniue's eyes. Shu Ling pulled out contact lenses and shoved them into his hand. During the process, being stared at by Euphoniue left him flustered. Before Ningyi could stop her, she darted off in a flash. Ningyi let out a helpless sigh. He steadied Euphoniue's chin with his hand. The two were so close to each other, close enough to hear each other's breathing. Fortunately, everything went smoothly.
He gazed into Yufengyue's light brown pupils. He seemed momentarily lost in thought.
Not bad at all. Are you feeling uncomfortable?
Ningyi stopped Yufengyue from rubbing his eyes. He had him close his eyes.
Ningyi gently blew on his eyes. In that moment, Yufengyue truly felt the rhythmic sound of a heartbeat, yet he still couldn't understand why wearing colored contact lenses was necessary.
Ningyi, however, told him that he was different from them. Yufengyue irritably glared at Shu Lin, who was tending the fire and cooking. Then a sharp pain came from Ningyi's hand. So it turns out Yufengyue was using a sword while biting his wrist.
Ningyi, feeling the pain, pushed him away. Why was he doing this?
Yet Yufengyue stubbornly acted like a child would.
The three of them continued on their journey, heading towards the base in City C.
At night, they rested in an abandoned factory.
After saying goodnight to Shu Lin, Ningyi stood observing the surroundings.
But suddenly, he was attacked by a pair of large hands.
Hadn't had enough bites this afternoon, still wanted another taste.
Unexpectedly, Yufengyue paused for a moment in silence,
then actually nodded in agreement. Are you planning to leave with him? Ningyi didn't expect him to ask this. He countered by asking, so are you planning to kill me now?
After speaking, he grabbed Yufengyue's hand
and placed it against his vulnerable neck. This is the weakest part of a person. Without even biting, you could easily kill me, as long as you put in a little effort.
Hearing this, Yufengyue's fingers trembled slightly. She furrowed her brow, staring at the hand she had placed on Ningyi's neck,
thinking that all it would take is for him to tighten just a bit. In the next moment, Yufengyue suddenly released Ningyi as if jolted by a shock.
Seeing that he remained motionless for a long time, she asked if it was because he couldn't kill her,
or if he was reluctant but still intended to kill her. What does it mean to neither understand nor let go of the fleeting moments? He only knew that they were not the same kind. Ningyi would follow his own kind away through the woods.
Thinking of this, Yufengyue lowered his head.
In an instant, the idea of wanting Ningyi to become like him grew uncontrollably wild, catching him completely off guard.
The bitten Ningyi winced in pain
and forcefully pushed away the struggling Yufengyue.
Your teeth are quite strong.
Didn't I tell you before not to bite me? It hurts a lot, so next time I'll be gentler. When Ningyi heard there would be a next time, he was so angry that he couldn't help but laugh.
He was determined to teach the zombie king male lead a lesson. Then he used the same method to pin the person against the wall.
He bit down hard on Yufengyue's neck, not forgetting to warn, you bite me once, I'll only bite you back once. After finishing everything, Yufengyue turned around and left immediately.
Yufengyue, however, felt something strange about herself.
By the time evening arrived, Yufengyue crouched beside Ningyi to check. Even though there was a deep bite mark, it still didn't seem to work. But why, so early in the morning?
Su Lin saw Ningyi tending to his wound.
Brother Ning, what happened to you? Ningyi awkwardly rubbed his neck, dryly explained that it wasn't a zombie bite.
Shu Lin instantly understood as she looked at the staring Yufengyue.
It was obvious who did the biting.
In the next moment, he transformed into the protector of their love. The two were deeply in love with each other. There's nothing that couldn't be resolved. Before he could finish his sentence,
Yufengyue suddenly stood up,
staring jealously at Shu Lin, who was pouting. Shu Lin shrank back in fear,
hurriedly finding an excuse of making breakfast to slip away unnoticed.
Yufengyue fixed her gaze on Ningyi's wound.
Falling into a long, unwavering silence, Ningyi let out a cold snort,
turning around to get in the car and tend to it himself, only to be stopped by Yufengyue, who turned him back, insisting that she would help him apply the medicine. To be honest, her clumsy demeanor was actually a little endearing. While Yufengyue was helping Ningyi treat his wound, caught a glimpse of the conspicuous bag among the bookshelves. Immediately, alarm bells went off in his mind. Used his body to shield Ningyi from view, nearly pushed the prohibition sign right in front of him.
Ningyi let out a helpless sigh. After putting on his clothes, saw Yufengyue handing over the medicine. Ningyi was confused, unable to understand the situation. The next second, saw Yufengyue pulling down her collar, revealing the bite mark on her neck. Ningyi reached out to touch. He knowingly asked who bit him.
Yufengyue stared at him intently as he spoke.
Ningyi responded with a hum. He retorted, then why would I bite you?
Seeing Yufengyue turn his head away to avoid eye contact,
Ningyi pinched his cheek,
raised it and revealed his body covered in bite marks.
Neck and wrist still missing one bite. You came to me to be the victim of your experiments. Here to apply medicine for you. Aren't you afraid I'll bite you again?
But then saw Yufengyue suddenly lean close to his eyes.
Pure and completely untainted. Spoke clearly and firmly, I am not afraid of you, you can try. Instantly left Ningyi dumbfounded. Wait a minute. this doesn't seem right for the storyline. The zombie king shouldn't be acting this comforting.
Ningy was so frightened he swallowed nervously several times, but still obediently complied. Fengyu carefully applied the medicine.
In the days that followed,
the three of them traveled while discussing how to survive in the apocalypse. Their goal was clear: to deal with zombies, gather supplies, and search for food.
However, Fengyu behaved for only a day or two, then went back to his old habits.
Bit by bit, he began to approach Nini,
reaching out to tug gently at his sleeve. Interrupted, Nini opened his eyes.
The dark figure grabbed hold of that hand.
He asked what Fengyu intended to do. Fengyu stayed silent for a few seconds, then hesitantly responded, playing cards.
Nini paused for a moment, startled.
He had no doubt that Fengyu's brief silence was absolutely an attempt to come up with an excuse.
So he went along with Fengyu's words and agreed, "Fine, if I win.
Give me a bite." Nini looked him up and down,
thinking to himself, Fengyu still wanted to bite him.
The next moment, Fengyu grasped her hand and said, "If you win,
you can bite me." But unexpectedly Nini coldly withdrew his hand, indicating that he was not interested in this exchange. Seeing him reject her offer, Fengyu decided to force the issue, and immediately tackled him to the ground. Fortunately, Nini quickly covered her mouth with his hand,
suddenly regretting not bringing a few mouth clamps beforehand.
Noticing that Fengyu beneath him was still restless, Nini simply blocked her with his own mouth instead.
Because Chen Shulin was walking in the women's clothing store, she was almost ambushed by a zombie hiding behind the clothing rack. Thankfully, Ningyi appeared in time
and subdued the zombie.
It was quite obvious
that zombies have recently become increasingly human-like.
He glanced at Fengyu, who was snacking,
and speculated if it might be related to Fengyu, the zombie king.
Gradually regaining human consciousness, the zombies seemed to be evolving alongside Fengyu.
Suddenly, Fengyu fixed her gaze on the crumbs of chips in her hand. Her eyes lit up with excitement.
She leapt off the table in one swift move and dashed off in the direction of Ningyi, skillfully reaching out her hand to grab some water from Ningyi. As for how the other zombies are, for Ningyi, Fengyu is the most dangerous individual. Time passed until the evening. The red moon rose. Originally sound asleep, Ning felt a corner of the blanket being lifted.
Instinctively opened her eyes with caution, then turned around and grabbed Fengyu's wrist. Stop messing around. Seeing that he still looked unwilling to give up, Ning simply wrapped her arms around his waist, pulling him closer into her embrace. Her actions were so practiced, it seemed like she had done this hundreds of times. Fengyu, feeling comfortable, nestled against the blanket and was about to sleep. But Ning brushed against his hair lightly, criticized the strong smell of hair.
With that, he swiftly lifted the blanket.
In the middle of the night, he dragged someone to wash their hair. The comfortable water temperature made Fengyu narrow her eyes. The two started chatting and continued to talk.
Time slipped away quickly.
Ningyi used his hand to gently dry her washed hair, but his eyes kept glancing at the water droplets sliding down Fengyu's chest, until he stared so much that his mouth felt dry and his tongue parched. Ningyi quickly averted his gaze, feeling guilty. He tossed the towel over to Fengyu, making an excuse. He claimed he was heading to bed first. The next moment, his hand was grabbed by Fengyu. Meeting his innocent and pure gaze, he swallowed back the reprimanding words he was about to say. He raised his hand to press against Fengyu's swollen lips. In a stern tone, he asked if he dared to bite again next time.
After seeing Fengyu remain silent for a few seconds before nodding, for a moment, Ningyi was left speechless. Why did you bite me anyway?
Yet the sound could still be heard. When Fengyu wanted him to become just like him, he suddenly widened his eyes in shock. But how should he tell him? No matter how many times he bites me, it won't work. Before he could figure it out, a sharp pain suddenly shot through his finger. Ningyi pressed down on his mouth.
What are you trying to do? Control me. Turn me into something just like those lifeless beings.
Fengyu opened his mouth as if to say something, but he was interrupted by Ningyi.
Alright, stop bothering me all the time. When I get angry, I feel like teaching you a lesson. It wouldn't be good if I end up breaking you.
Leaving Fengyu confused, scratching his head. After the zombie male protagonist confirmed his feelings, he constantly wanted to stick close to Ningyi. When Ningyi got up and didn't see any trace of Fengyu, he immediately rushed outside without stopping,
thinking that Fengyu had been outside all night long and might still be standing in the rain. He quickened his pace even more. As expected, Fengyu ended up with a high fever. In the original story,
even though he, as the zombie king, was supposed to have the strongest physique. He only experienced a high fever once because he regained his memories.
But that's something that won't happen until 3 months later. Could it be a fever that doesn't fit within the storyline? However, for Euphoniua, this fever lasted an entire day. It wasn't until evening that there were faint signs of waking up.
Another hand instinctively reached out,
trying to check Euphoniua's forehead again.
But the movement was abruptly stopped as Euphoniua grabbed the collar unexpectedly, meeting a pair of eyes filled with intense aggression. It made Ning suspect that a critical plot point from the original story had been brought forward. But as Euphoniua's gaze gradually became clearer, a weak voice cried out the bad news.
Ning Yi's doubts were dispelled again.
He gently patted Euphoniua's hand. He gestured that he was going to find something for him to eat. But Euphoniua suddenly turned the tables and pinned him down.
I finally figured out what I truly want.
Su Lin didn't expect to feel indifferent, and still had to witness such a restricted scene. In an instant, with a swoosh, she dashed out of the shadowy room.
Ning Yi noticed that Euphoniua was about to make another move.
Turn your head away to block him out.
Aren't you hungry? Move aside. I'll get you something to eat. However, Euphoniua clung to him like an ornament. It wasn't until 2 days later, Euphoniua fully recovered.
The three of them resumed gathering usable supplies. Ning Yi was still hesitating over picking up the lollipop, when considering whether it was an unnecessary item.
He noticed Euphoniua's sparkling eyes. He instantly decided to let him stay. Suddenly, someone in the woods turned pale and shouted for retreat. Ning Yi looked up and saw a wave of zombies.
He realized what was happening. Hurriedly, he gathered the supplies and retreated.
Just as the zombies were about to catch up, he got into a car that had been left not far away, leaving behind a trail of exhaust as he sped away.
Ning Yi felt something was off.
Back when Euphoniua was around,
there had never been a zombie horde before. Could it be that something happened he was unaware of? As they neared the factory, Ning Yi slammed on the brakes abruptly. He spotted 3 suspicious men ahead. They were scheming around his SUV.
Ning Yi stopped Su Lin and Euphoniua from making a move.
He decided to step out and check the situation himself. Su Lin seemed a bit worried about this.
Euphoniua, she was completely immersed in the joy of Ning Yi holding her hand.
It must be said that the thought process of young couples is truly unique. The three of them could see clearly that Ning Yi was the only one there.
Without hesitation, they declared their intention to take over his belongings.
What if I refuse? Euphoniua stopped Su Lin, who was trying to help. He believed Ning Yi could handle it.
Sure enough, 10 minutes later,
the three of them were successfully dealt with by Ning Yi.
After Euphoniua got out of the car,
he keenly noticed the wound on his face. Naturally leaning closer to his face, she gently blew on the wound. The distance between them was so close, it was almost as if they were about to kiss.
Coincidentally, they were spotted by someone exiting the woods. Embarrassed, Ning Yi quickly stood up.
He stepped back to create some distance between himself and Euphoniua, accidentally kicking over someone nearby in the process. He told Euphoniua there was no need to treat his wound. Euphoniua kept her eyes fixed on his wound. Then, with a haughty attitude, he turned his head away without saying a word.
When night fell,
he found a secluded spot and left the person who had hurt Ning Yi bruised and battered.
As a result,
the next day, Ning Yi noticed that his hand was injured. Euphoniua quickly hid his hand behind his back. Ning Yi, dissatisfied, grabbed the hand that was reaching towards him
and asked how he got hurt. Euphoniua casually lied, saying the restroom was too dark.
The lie was far too clumsy.
Ning Yi sized him up and down, thinking of this zombie king.
His night vision was much better than the average person, yet he could still bump his hand while using the bathroom in the dark. Reminded him to apply some medicine later. After washing his face, he was about to let go of Euphoniua, but his arm was held back by the other person. Euphoniua looked aggrieved and complained about the pain. Listening to his tone that sounded almost like whining, her cheeks instantly flushed red. Feeling both distressed and helpless, she agreed. It seemed like the zombies lost control yesterday.
Do you know what happened?
After speaking, he sneaked a glance,
carefully observing Euphoniua's expression. Euphoniua only knew the zombies were confined to the upper floors of a tall building, but it wasn't under human control. Ning Yi absent-mindedly pondered Euphoniua's words. A finger pressed against Euphoniua's lips,
causing her to let out a startled gasp. Only then did Ning Yi snap out of his daze. He hurriedly threw down the towel and turned away as if fleeing, mentioning that he needed to grab some ointment for her, and strode forward with large steps.
But after a few steps, he inexplicably turned his head back to see Euphoniua blushing and covering her lips, while the forest seemed to buzz with gossip-driven curiosity. How did they fall in love?
Ning Yi listened with a look of astonishment, blushing as she tried to explain.
He misunderstood the situation in the woods,
feeling like his view on love was being reshaped.
No way, you two have already kissed, and yet you're not together. Ningyi turned his head away, instinctively feeling this was about Fengyu. Very proper. The forest seemed to feel it necessary to explain to him, so, leaning closer, he asked, "What if I kiss you right now? How would it feel?" Ningyi blurted out, "Wouldn't Euphoniue kiss you instead?" Ningyi was briefly stunned. He recalled how Euphoniue wanted him to become a zombie just like him. The scene of them biting each other's lips all night came to mind. Thinking of this, Ningyi nodded slightly, indicating that the two of you are not the same. Euphoniue doesn't understand anything at all. It turned out that Ningyi took advantage of others' vulnerability to act improperly at the Fengyu, so the scumbag was right in front of him all along. By the campfire, only the other person remained. She started to notice something strange about her feelings toward the protagonist. She thought about calling out the system to ask. After learning that previous hosts had similar physical reactions, she felt relieved and let out a long breath. Just as she coincidentally went to the restroom, Euphoniue returned. He naturally sat down beside him, handed him a can of candy. Ningyi suddenly felt his heart racing a little, especially at the moment when the golden box was revealed after opening it. Ningyi looked at Euphoniue in disbelief. Euphoniue, however, smiled with unrestrained confidence. "This is what you like. I'll give you a phrase that hits like a thunderclap on flat ground," completely shaking Ningyi to his core. "So many golden boxes. What if I lose it? You can use something else to settle the debt." Ningyi unknowingly leaned closer to someone else. "Bite me?" The ambiguous atmosphere made the temperature suddenly rise, but it was abruptly interrupted by a dazzling white light from behind. Ningyi quickly covered Euphoniue's eyes, telling him to wear colored contact lenses to prevent others from noticing, but as he turned around, Euphoniue grabbed Ningyi's hand. "Are you planning to go with them?" Ningyi could tell Euphoniue was feeling scared. He patted his head to comfort him. "I still prefer spending time with you. Without you, nothing would have any meaning." After learning that Ningyi's car had broken down, the other party suggested they could ride with them to City C. The method is indeed a good one. It's just that there's some concern about Euphoniue, but having him around makes it better. There shouldn't be any major surprises. Shulin was the first to get into the car. The girl assumed Ningyi was Shulin's boyfriend. Zhulin was just about to explain, when Euphoniue quickly interrupted her. "He doesn't have an interest in women. He's into me." That one sentence left the entire car in silence. And just like that, Ningyi was inexplicably labeled the bond between the two who went through life and death together. There was finally a substantial change from nothing to something. In the early hours of 1 or 2 o'clock, the car pulled over to the side of the road for a rest. Euphoniue dragged Ningyi out of the car. Ningyi noticed that his body felt ice cold. He turned around, intending to grab a piece of clothing for him, but at that moment, the ground suddenly shook violently. A massive wave of zombies surged toward them. Ningyi pulled the stunned Euphoniue, who was frozen in place, racing madly toward the car. However, just as Ningyi turned back to grab Euphoniue, someone bumped into him out of nowhere, causing Ningyi, who was already unsteady, to lose his balance, and with the momentum, pushed Euphoniue outward. In Fengyue's mind, a scene flashed instantly, a scene eerily similar to this very moment. As long as he reached out his hand, he could pull Ning down together with him. Observing Fengyue's expression, Ningyi's breath hitched. There was no time to think further. He instinctively reached out toward him. Ningyi held tightly onto his waist. They tumbled onto the ground. Meanwhile, the large truck sped off into the distance, leaving the two surrounded by zombies. However, in order to survive, they had to deal with nearly 200 zombies. The battle continued until the faint light of dawn appeared. Euphoniue questioned Ningyi, whose powers were completely drained. "Why did you come down here with me?" Ningyi tugged at the corner of his mouth. "I told you before, if I don't walk this path with you, it feels meaningless." After all, he couldn't possibly say. Both his mind and body instinctively chose you. As for why it was instinct to reach out, who knows? Ningyi let out a sigh. It was time to get back to just the two of them again. "Let's go find a town to gather some supplies." However, just as Ningyi stood up, his legs gave out and he stumbled. Euphoniue noticed this. He crouched down beside him and offered to carry him on his back. Ningyi hesitated and looked at him. "Are you sure you can do it?" As it turned out, Euphoniue was more than capable, carrying Ningyi for 200 kilometers. She only broke out in a slight sweat. "When tired, she would let me down." Euphoniue shook her head without any expression. Ningyi didn't say anything further. He simply reached out to wipe her sweat, but each time his hand brushed against her throat, her Adam's apple would move slightly. Ningyi's tone carried a hint of teasing, relax and stop. I won't do anything to you.
Euphoniou merely responded with a soft hum, his ears slightly reddened. It was unclear whether he believed it or not.
By the afternoon, the two of them arrived at a small town. After resting for a day, they finally recovered.
The first thing he did upon waking was to take a shower. Sitting next to him, Euphoniou's eyes sparkled with excitement. He followed him closely the entire time. It wasn't until they reached the bathroom door that he suggested the idea of showering together. A few seconds later, Euphoniou stepped forward to stand in front of him.
Be honest and open. The other feeling is quite strange, just like before, and yet different from before.
Clearly, there was a time when Euphoniou was bathed.
Back then, there were no kisses, no fluttering of the heart, no affection. In the coming days,
Ningyi and Euphoniou temporarily stayed in this small town. During the day, they worked together as partners to gather supplies.
At night, their relationship shifted to one of mutual support in a hierarchical dynamic. Euphoniou, no matter what she did, Ningyi always found her adorable.
Ningyi thought everything she did was endearing.
Maybe this is already what love feels like. The next day, Euphoniou gave each crystal core to Ningyi. You don't need it?
Why? Euphoniou paused for a moment in surprise, reluctantly shifted his gaze away from the golden box.
Ningyi fixed his gaze on the golden box.
A sly smile appeared on his face, but before he could say a word,
Euphoniou interrupted him.
Why have you been staring at me so intently? Ningyi's deep and captivating eyes stayed locked on him.
Because I like you. Isn't that what you said before? I like you, but what a shame it is.
I had originally planned to play cards with you.
It's just that you already gave me the golden box, without a stake to bet. The game can't be played anymore. Euphoniou interrupted him seriously.
Her finger slowly moved upward to his lips.
We can play for rewards. Let's change it to a kiss.
Ningyi's eyes carried a hint of amusement. He pressed her hand suggestively against his lips.
What a coincidence. I was about to say the same thing.
In the first round, Euphoniou was the first to draw the king. Before he could make his request,
Ningyi acted even faster than him.
Fixing his gaze on Euphoniou's slightly tipsy appearance, Ningyi thought that if Euphoniou regained her memories, she probably wouldn't let him off so easily.
Noticing Ningyi's momentary distraction,
Euphoniou's voice carried a hint of questioning.
What are you thinking about? No, I wasn't thinking about anything, but Euphoniou insists on getting to the bottom of it.
He firmly pressed down on his hand to stop him from moving.
Ningyi looked a bit helpless. All right,
I was wondering if the forest had reached a safe area.
Euphoniou was absolutely infuriated.
Ningyi was really worried.
Even though you're with me, you're still thinking about someone else?
Ningyi attempted to dispel his hostility toward others. Euphoniou's attention, however, shifted.
What about you? To me, what kind of person are you? Ningyi paused in surprise.
He lifted his hand in a gesture that seemed ambiguous,
scattered on Euphoniou's lips. Me? I belong to the kind of people who like you.
The second round of the game officially began. Ningyi successfully obtained his lucky card as he had wished.
Simply connected. Kisses are boring. Have you ever played Candy Stories?
As he spoke, Ningyi took out some candy and let him choose.
Actually, Euphoniou still didn't understand what it meant.
It was just that Ningyi made the decision for him. He unwrapped a strawberry-flavored lollipop and placed it in front of the utterly confused Euphoniou. Then he leaned in close, closing the gap completely. Have to admit, it felt surprisingly good,
though Euphoniou's lips did feel a little numb. For a while after that,
the small town was home to only Ningyi and Euphoniou.
They tacitly avoided mentioning leaving, until Euphoniou curiously rested her head on the table, pointing at the dust-covered journal and asking what it was. It's probably a journal.
After saying this, another hand reached out, attempting to pick it up and read it. The previously still zombie suddenly pressed down firmly.
The others seemed to understand something, cautiously loosening their grip on the journal afterward.
The zombie indeed returned to its quiet state. Zombies sometimes retain obsessions from their past lives. It is clear that this diary is his obsession. Another person approached the diary and took a look.
It recorded
the wonderful times he spent fishing with his old friend.
Fearing that Euphoniou wouldn't understand,
the other person explained it to him.
People sometimes forget things easily.
That's why they need to keep a diary. In the end, the two of them closed the door.
Ningyi noticed how much Euphoniou cared about the diary, but Euphoniou had not yet regained the ability to write.
Ningyi gave it some careful thought.
He decided to create a diary just for him and Euphoniou.
The ink was scribbled and altered on the diary,
but no words came out. It wasn't until Euphoniue appeared that he realized writing an observation diary about Euphoniue could be a good idea too. Suddenly, Euphoniue leaned in close. Terrified, Ningyi hurriedly covered the content. "The diary isn't ready for you to read yet. Why can't I take a look?" Closing the diary, Ningyi explained, "Because the diary I wrote has something to do with you." As soon as she heard it was about her, she became even more eager to read it. Euphoniue grew more excited and wanted to see it even more. Ningyi helplessly pushed her away. "No way, I'll let you see it later. Don't worry, you won't have to wait too long. I'll wait until I think the timing is right, just hoping that by then, you'll still want to see it." A turning point occurred a few days later. Yufengyu inexplicably came down with a high fever. According to the original storyline, the protagonist regains their memory because of this fever. As expected, the key plot points of the original story can't be avoided. The question is, after Yufengyu wakes up, what kind of attitude will he have towards him? Gazing at Euphoniue as he slept peacefully, she began imagining the moment he would wake up. Would he remember that I was the one responsible for turning him into a zombie, and deal with me directly, just like in the original plot? But what if his memory doesn't return? Ningyi contemplated unleashing the water wings to prevent his memories from coming back, only to be stopped by Euphengue's affectionate and dependent gestures, and she guiltily withdrew her hand. They had promised each other to spend their entire lives together, without any deceit or secrets. Forget it. Let things take their course. The sound of the wind outside rustled sharply, but Ningyi's eyes were fixed solely on Euphoniue. He leaned closer to Euphengue's ear, and softly whispered his goodbye to her. "I'm leaving now." Seeing the unconscious Euphoniue instinctively furrow her brows, Ningyi let out a sigh of relief. "I can hear you. Don't worry, I'm just going to grab something to eat. I will be back." After saying that, he gently poked Euphengue's cheek. As he was about to turn and leave, Ningyi turned his head uneasily once more. Looking at the still unconscious Euphoniue, he placed the diary under the water cup. Just before leaving, gave Euphoniue an affectionate goodnight kiss. However, Ningyi never expected to encounter a teammate from before the apocalypse during his return. Before Ningyi could figure out what was happening, one of the men swung his fist first, attempting to attack Ningyi, but Ningyi dodged it effortlessly. Realizing what was happening, Ningyi twisted his wrist, successfully subduing the man to the ground. Watching the other man glare at him with bloodshot eyes, Ningyi asked in confusion, "Who you are?" "Who?" Ningyi's unfamiliar gaze successfully provoked the man. "Don't think I didn't see it. How did you push brother you down? You ungrateful traitor." Ningyi realized what was going on after hearing those words. This was the teammate from the early days at Fongyue. Ningyi smoothed out the wrinkles. "If you want to gather all the zombies here, do your best to shout." For a moment, the entire place fell into complete silence. Shu Lin asked quietly, "Is there perhaps some kind of misunderstanding?" Thinking back to the series of events that happened right after crossing over, this is a long story to explain. The person, with reddened eyes, choked as they asked, "Where did you go?" "I don't know. After Euphoniue and I fell off the vehicle, we got separated. After all, this is a critical moment for Euphoniue. These people cannot be fully trusted." Ningyi pondered over it, and decided it was better not to let them know. Euphoniue would be safer here. Ningyi had always been on guard against the opponent's attacks. The moment the other side unleashed their special power, he immediately activated his water-based ability without hesitation, only to be unexpectedly knocked down by a lightning ability from behind. Ningyi silently cursed that things had gone wrong. Immediately, their entire body went numb and collapsed to the ground. "This is really bad. Looks like I'll have to break my promise." But if Euphoniue remembers everything, then those promises probably won't matter anymore. Meanwhile, on the other side, Euphoniue was flipping through the pages of a diary. "Today, I found a store that sells wine. We shared a drink together." His face turned red as he drank. "He looks so adorable. I couldn't help but give her a kiss. Her smile is truly beautiful, but she doesn't smile very often." It felt a bit regretful to bite his neck and leave a mark. He seemed a little upset. "He avoided me the entire day." In the end, the diary was slammed shut with a loud sound. "It's already been 3 days. Are you afraid I'll regain my memory and take revenge on you? So, did you run away?" Noticing that Euphengue's corruption level had skyrocketed to 80, the system immediately relayed the information to Ningyi. As a result, Ningyi opened his eyes again, only to find himself already tied up. Fortunately, he possessed the rare water-based ability. The other side would never harm him recklessly. However, if he didn't die at the hands of these people, he would still meet his end at Euphengue's hands. After all, his corruption level was so high right now. Surely he must despise himself completely. The car quickly arrived at the destination. Anyone entering the city must first undergo a 24-hour quarantine. Ningyi lay on the bed, feeling utterly hopeless. He waited quietly for the inevitable outcome to unfold. But what arrived even faster than the end was his longing for Fengyu. There were clearly easier jobs available, yet Ningyi insisted on choosing fieldwork, solely to slightly increase his chances of finding Fengyu. The team captain, Shi Quan, informed him that a group of survivors had arrived from H City. Maybe you could go and take a look. Ningyi replied absent-mindedly. Perhaps, but Fengyu probably wouldn't obediently wait in line. Yet amidst this long queue, Fengyu was hidden within it. He was certain he had caught a faint trace of Ningyi's scent. Taking advantage of the time outside, Ningyi arrived at the hotel where the two were staying. He touched the quilt, which had long since gone cold. Unwilling to give up, he asked the system about Yufengyue's whereabouts. Even though the system couldn't pinpoint the protagonist's location, he noticed that Yufengyue's corruption level had dropped. It went from 80 down to 50. Their breathing was synchronized. It was unclear what had happened during this period. In the blink of an eye, half a month had passed. The motion to unlock the door suddenly paused. The marks where the lock had been tampered with were clearly visible. Before they could figure out who it was, a pair of hands appeared first, grabbing his collar and pulling him inside. The sense of danger instinctively triggered his ability. The darkness of the room was illuminated by light. What came into view first was Yufengyue's face, filled with blame and grievance. Yufengyue's first words were, "I came to find you. You said you'd come to the safe base in City C." It was observed that Yufengyue spoke fluently. Another guess is that he must have remembered everything. He traveled across 100 kilometers to come and find me. What exactly is Yufengyue trying to do? End my life? Or perhaps it was the sudden closeness of Yufengyue that was felt. Another instinctive turn of the head. You seem very afraid of me. The other explanation does not hold. I was just taken aback. Yufengyue, in excitement, pinned his hand against the wall. The one who should be surprised is me. Why did you leave me? Ningyi was about to explain that it was an accident, when Chi's voice suddenly came from outside the door. Ningyi, are you still awake? Afraid that Yufengyue's identity as a zombie would be exposed within the base. Ningyi had no choice but to shove Yufengyue into the wardrobe. Before the anger could rise in Yufengyue, Ningyi gently patted his head to calm him down. There was a knock at the door. It was Captain Chi delivering a reward for his completed task. He also asked if he wanted to go out for a midnight snack. Without hesitation, Ningyi declined. He turned around and opened the cabinet, only to meet Yufengyue's darkened expression. Have you already found a new friend so quickly? Have you been planning to leave me for a long time? Forget about me. Even if I chase after you and stand before you again, all you want is to hide me away. Am I really so unworthy to be seen? Ningyi turned his head and denied it. I have never thought that way. Every single day with you has been filled with joy. Yufengyue suddenly interrupted him. Liar, I don't even know which of your words are true. You've been deceiving me all along. I really dislike going into the closet. When I was a child, I didn't do well on exams. My parents would lock me in the closet as punishment. It was only then that Ningyi suddenly remembered. Yufengyue never spends the night in a dark carriage, and yet, I forced him into the place he hated the most. But even so, Yufengyue still didn't kill me outright. Maybe he still has some love for me. Ningyi wanted to bet one more time with his life. Under the threat from Yufengyue, he slowly leaned closer. He used his actions to prove that Yufengyue still had feelings for him, until a sharp pain came from his lips. Ningyi finally loosened his mouth. Why do you always like to bite me? Yufengyue stared at him with a dark expression. You lied to me. I'll make sure to settle all these accounts with you. As she spoke, she traced her fingernail along his neck. I'm not interested in you. Before he could finish speaking, the other person smiled and grabbed his hand. So, are you still interested in me now? Right, an unexpected reaction made Yufengyue's mind go blank for a moment. Immediately, a warm and moist sensation was felt on the back of his hand. Understood. I will try my best not to let you lose interest in me. With a series of actions, Yufengyue's breathing became steady, after yanking the hand back forcefully from the other hand. Even amidst the fleeting moments, the purpose of today was not forgotten. Starting from tomorrow, you will move in and live with me. Do not attempt to resist me. Ningyi spoke as he stared at the retreating figure disappearing in haste. All right, but there is one condition. I have never lied to you. At most, there were just some things I didn't tell you. It's truly joyful being with you. It's true. Upon hearing this, Yu Fengyu quickened her pace. Early the next morning, Ningyi followed closely behind Yu Fengyu, chatting away. Did they assign you a house in the district? It seems like they really value your abilities. But your eyes, has your identity been discovered? Yu Fengyu gave him a resentful look. It's all thanks to you. Thanks to you, I now have to conceal my identity. However, I won't die before you do. Upon reaching the floor, Yu Fengyu rudely shoved Ningyi. After noticing there was only one bed in the room, Ningyi gave a subtle, ambiguous smile. Yu Fengyu didn't offer any explanation. Instead, he tossed a phone to him. I have something to take care of and need to leave. Take this and keep it safe. Ningyi caught the phone tossed to him. He gave it a casual shake in his hand. Such a nice thing you're giving me. Doesn't it come with any price to pay? What could you possibly offer? Without hesitation, Ningyi replied, anything at all. After speaking, he lightly touched his lips with his finger, then made a suggestive downward motion from top to bottom. The next moment, Yu Fengyu, who was staring at him intently, reacted with a loud bang. He rushed out through the door in a hurry. In the evening, after Ningyi finished washing up, Yu Fengyu suggested he read his journal out loud. As a condition, Ningyi slowly leaned closer. Do you really want me to read it out loud? Only to be met with an annoyed slap from Yu Fengyu. Is it because it feels insincere that you can't say it aloud? If you're planning to stay here properly, then obediently listen to what I say. In fact, Ningyi just had an inexplicable feeling while reading it. Isn't it embarrassing enough? I won't let anything make you unhappy. Yu Fengyu dove back into the blankets with a thud. While Ningyi was being called insincere, the blush on her face gave everything away.